Hello. We are all here to celebrate Ricardo's life, and I really admire his desire to serve the homeless. This is a song that I wrote a while ago when I was looking around at all the stuff that I had. And I think that Ricardo would have approved of this song because it's called Those Who Need. More CDs than I can listen to, too many DVDs to see. All this stuff should just remind me of those who need. I've got tapes I haven't gotten to, several books I've yet to read. With this stuff, won't you remind me of those who need? It takes a ton of time to watch all the ball games, read all my email haze. I need to make time for that. A mountain of my hours to see all the websites, computer games, and hay. I've gotta make time for that. Got more clothes than I can ever wear. I've got to stop my shopping greed. Please remind me when I spend, Lord, of those who need. It takes more storage space to keep all of my music and all my movies. Hey, I need to make space for them. It takes a lot more room to keep all my papers and all my boxes. Hey, I've gotta make space for them. Way too much TV and videos, too many magazines to read. With this stuff, won't you remind me of those who need? Thank you. Thank you so much. Those who need. Isn't that true?
I'm not used to being in front of a microphone. I also wasn't aware that my father had this whole other identity up in Northern Virginia. He was always Richard to us. After he passed away, everyone's like, "Hey, Ricardo." I was like, who is Ricardo? I think that comes from growing up in Texas and, being near Spanish speakers and feeling kind of cool about Spanish speakers, but not being one himself. He was like, I could do my name, sort of, with some flair. So he comes up here and he's like, "I'm Ricardo, the musician." So he was a lot of things to a lot of people. He was a programmer, he was a musician, he was a dad. Sorry. I am 36 And my sister Sophia is Shan. And we've had very different dads, all the same guy. I grew up in a very tiny rancher in Mechanicsville. We didn't really have all that much, but Dad and I had Pee-wee's Playhouse, which, as odd as my dad was, that was a perfect show for him. So he and I watched the Dickens out of that when I was a kid. Of course, Pee-wee's, you know what he is. So despite all that, I know he was trying to get my sister into Pee-wee as well. Only Pee-wee's now on DVD, not just on TV on Saturday morning. And my mother used to come in, she would call us two idiots in front of the TV, because we'd want to see the biggest, rubber band ball in the world. And Samuel Jackson's, cowboy, whatever the heck his name was. But anyway, and then Sophia, I know, who's had slightly older dad, but he had more money, so they got to do a lot more cool stuff. I feel a little bit gypped. I never got to go on cruises like she did, and I've never been to half the countries my sister's been at 10 years old, so, But anyway, my dad was, when he and my mom first separated, that's when he started really getting back into his music. He'd always played his guitar while I was growing up, but that's when he started writing a lot more and playing a lot more. And his first CD that he put out, Firefly's Dream, was something I sort of felt, probably in totally an incorrect way, but I felt like I sort of owned it as well, because he would play these songs constantly in this terrible little cave where he was living, and I would give him feedback and tell him what I liked, and so I really watched him turn into more of a comfortable musician on the stage. He used to play at Barnes & Noble and Borders and stuff, and there was no one there, and then there was me. I'm like, oh my God! It's my dad rocking on the guitar! And I'm sure everyone in Borders like, who the hell is that girl? It's like, whoa! Like I was at a Van Halen concert or something, but, so yeah, he didn't used to be very comfortable on stage, and he never wanted to sing. He was very uncomfortable singing as well, and then, the older he got and the more comfortable, I guess, he got in his skin, he was a lot more, willing to go up on stage, and then, suddenly he was part of SAW, which is a great organization, and, suddenly I couldn't go to all of his shows because he was doing too many, and they weren't at Borders anymore, so I wasn't the only person hooting and hollering, which was great. It was kind of a burden when I was younger, but anyway, so I know that this, he worked, we all work, it's not who we are. My dad would identify himself much more as a musician, first and foremost, besides being a Texan and a huge eater of chili. I think that's what made up half of his belly, was all the chili he made and then cooked, and unfortunately for everyone, I'm pretty sure he took the chili recipe with him to his grave. I didn't know it. I do know that he had a jar of Texas dirt that he kept, and I remember being younger and thinking, that is foul. Like he would sprinkle a little bit of Texas dirt in his chili, and I was like, Dad, that's super gross. But he wanted his, chili to be authentic. And I could never eat it because he used to laugh at me and say that I had Virginia taste buds, which I do. But he had a lot of nasal polyps and he couldn't smell very well, so everything he ate had to be, habanero hot. And my mom and I were both, it's like this much rice, this much chili. He's like, you guys are wasting it. Oh my God, it's so good. White. I think it's really good he lost all of his hair because he sweat as much as I do. He bequeathed that to me, so thank you. We're all about 150 degrees, so it's way too hot. But anyway, so yeah, he put some beer in his chili, filet mignon. All I know is sort of the eccentric ingredients, but yeah, he was very devoted to putting his dirt in his chili. So any of y'all who've ate it, you've eaten it, you should feel like authentic, 16th Texans, because there was some dirt in there. But anyway, so I just really wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming today. We had a memorial service in Richmond for sort of the folks who knew him before as a golfer and a programmer, and he worked at Anthem, super boring stuff, but I grew up with that. That was the dad I really knew for most of my life. And while the service was lovely, I don't think that it was something my dad would have totally jammed about. This was something he would like a whole lot more. So I was really happy when Rob and Ron told me they were going to set this up. I was extremely appreciative. I just didn't want to do it. I was like, I've already done the first service. I really don't want to do another one. So it's nice to be able to just sit here and cry and not have to worry about scheduling things. So anyway, so a huge thank you to Saul and to everyone for setting this up and everyone for coming. I know my dad is very much enjoying it.